Be the love. What does that actually mean? Well, author Sarah Prout is all about manifesting joy and prosperity. The name of her podcast is Manifest, after all. She's also a big believer in the law of attraction. All of these things go hand in hand. The law of attraction says what you put into the universe determines what you get back. Therefore, you should be the love you want to receive. Maybe this all sounds too simple, or maybe it sounds too esoteric. Either way, don't worry. My name is Julia, and in these blinks to Sarah Prout's Be the Love, I'm going to break it down just a little further and provide you with some straightforward, actionable steps that you can take to start manifesting happiness today. You are worthy. The full title of this book by Sarah Prout is Be the Love: 7 Ways to Unlock Your Heart and Manifest Happiness. I'm going to take you through those 7 ways in which you can manifest more happiness in your life. As with many things in life, it all starts with you. Whatever you want to manifest, it starts with the kind of energy you give off and the feelings you have about yourself and your own potential. Therefore, the first step is about believing in yourself. Believing you are worthy of the positive changes you want to create. Sarah believes that affirmations can be deeply effective when changing your mindset and manifesting new realities for yourself. An affirmation is simply a phrase like, I am worthy, a phrase that you repeat to yourself on a regular basis. So, just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and repeat. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. It may feel silly at first, but it's this kind of repetition that can have profoundly positive effects. And when you say it like you really mean it, it can be deeply empowering. I am worthy. Whether you're conscious of it or not, many of us are stuck with some deep-seated feelings of self-doubt, shame, and even self-loathing. Sarah spent years in an abusive relationship with her first husband. Even though she always knew she wanted to be a creative entrepreneur, years of feeling undervalued had caused her to become hobbled by self-doubt. When she found the strength to leave her husband, things didn't just turn around. She was now a single mom, relying on welfare and making dinner out of pasta and ketchup in order to get by. It was up to her to pull herself out of this situation. She had to keep telling herself, I am worthy. She had to believe in her own magic. She had to trust that she could transform her reality into something completely different than what it was at the time. And that's why believing in yourself is the first step. This is where the transformation begins. While you may find yourself feeling less than worthy now, you have to start the process of reclaiming control over your own emotions and, frankly, your future. No one but you can dictate how you react to your circumstances. So instead of unconsciously reacting, pause for a sec. Mull it over for a bit. Recognize your worth. Recognize your power. And respond with compassionate kindness. Because remember, we want to be the love we want to receive from the universe. We all have this magical ability to transform our lives. But it takes persistence and hard work. It requires looking inward and resolving issues that may have you stuck in these feelings of low self-worth. This is why Sarah often recommends a combination of therapy and journaling as a step towards reclaiming your magic. In the next blink, we'll take a look at another kind of magic that we all have: intuition. You are intuitive. Was there ever a moment in your life when everything just seemed clear? Maybe you were a teenager and one day it just clicked. You suddenly knew exactly what you wanted to do with your life. Maybe it wasn't specific, but you knew you definitely wanted to do something with animals or pursue something creative or be some kind of journalist. We all have the capability to be intuitive, especially when it comes to our own lives. We know what's right or wrong for us, even if we can't explain the reasons why. If we're being truthful to ourselves, we also know when we're on the right path. And we also know when we veered completely off track. So it's vital that we keep a clear and open channel of communication going with our intuition at all times. But as many of us know, it's not always that easy these days. There are tons of other channels competing for our attention. On social media and elsewhere, there'll be images and news feeds that will tempt you to compare yourself and your life to someone else's. Instead of listening to your intuition, you might look at someone else's profile and think, that's the life I want. It's all too easy to get sidetracked by social media, which is why it's important to limit your daily exposure to these things. In order to stay connected to your intuition, you need to avoid getting stuck in these information bubbles that will distort your reality and reinforce biased opinions. So rather than looking at screens all day, try to carve away some time to spend in nature. When you regularly reacquaint yourself with the wonders of the natural world, you'll never be bored. But more importantly, it can be a reminder of your own wondrous nature and how we're all vitally connected to the natural world. Staying connected to your intuition is basically the same thing as trying to stay connected to all the messages we get from the universe. And another way of keeping that connection strong is to write down those messages you get in your journal. When you hear what your intuition has to say, be it a hunch or a gut instinct, make a note of it. Go back to it from time to time. Keep that focus and attention alive so you don't get sidetracked by all the other distractions out there. You are ready. There's a reason it's so easy to get stuck in a rut. Change is scary. We're better at adapting. When something bad happens, we can easily start to think, that's fine, this is the new normal. We get used to it, even if our intuition is screaming at us that this is not how it should be. We latch on to false narratives that neatly explain how we deserve to be stuck in some bad situation. Even the idea of change can be scary. Change implies the unknown. It raises so many questions. But in those questions, in that area outside of your comfort zone, that's where the magic and the transformation happens. And that's why going outside of your comfort zone is the third way of manifesting happiness. Now, it can sound kind of trite to say no pain, no gain, but there's some truth to this cliche. You have to be willing to take chances, to get uncomfortable, to step into the unknown if you want to manifest a new and happier life for yourself. There have been many times in Sarah's life where she felt so paralyzed by this fear of taking a leap into the unknown. Whether it was leaving her first husband or stepping onto a stage for the first time in order to deliver a speech and launch her new career, there were tears, there were mistakes, there were flat-out failures. That first speech, it was an unmitigated disaster. But she learned to embrace those failures. As it turns out, the universe rewards those who have the perseverance to get back on their feet, learn from those mistakes, and try again and again and again. When you're faced with making a scary decision, ask yourself one simple question. What's the worst thing that could realistically happen if I did this? We tend to build up these huge apocalyptic worst-case scenarios in order to avoid uncomfortable situations. But the more we take those chances, the more we kind of understand that even the worst outcomes aren't apocalyptic. In fact, as Sarah puts it, a misstep is often a bridge to improvement. All it takes is a little experience to realize this for yourself. And learning new skills is the way to create new and bigger comfort zones, providing new chances to learn and new ways to create even bigger comfort zones. So take a deep breath and tell yourself, I am ready. And keep telling yourself this. If you want to experience amazing growth as a human being, you're going to need to take those big leaps of faith. You are whole. We've arrived at the fourth way to manifest happiness, and like the other ones, this one is a call for empowerment. This time, the message is, you are not broken. Thinking you're broken is another roadblock on the path to transformation. It could be another one of those false narratives we've been told or have made ourselves believe in order to justify our current situation. Maybe you've experienced horrific trauma in the past, Or maybe you've gone through some terrible ordeal that no one should have to endure. These experiences can leave deep wounds. But never forget, you are not broken. You are whole. You can still manifest the happiness that you deserve. If you've ever been stuck in a depressive rut, you know that feeling, like you're in a fog that won't lift. You may have even felt like giving up. But life is never just one thing. In a way, life is seasonal. Sometimes it gives you torrents of rain that can feel punishing in the moment. Other times it gives you energizing sunshine. That's the wholeness of life. To move forward, we need to embrace the wholeness. We can't go on expecting it to be either winter or summer all the time. Embracing the wholeness means that it's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel miserable. It's okay to feel defeated sometimes. Sometimes just acknowledging your pain, accepting it, and realizing that all things eventually pass. That's enough to start the healing process. The important thing is to avoid shaming yourself for feeling a certain way. You might hear some people say that you should avoid negative feelings at all cost, that you should avoid being around people who have negative feelings. But the better approach is not to judge yourself or anyone else in this way. Instead, be empathetic. Treat yourself with kindness and compassion, and send that same kindness and compassion to others. We're all experiencing the wholeness of life. That means having days when we're up and days when we're down. Be whole. Be your authentic self. Otherwise, you'll be suppressing emotions, which can lead to pent-up, unprocessed feelings, which only lead to more problems. You have surrendered. Speaking of unprocessed emotions, the whole point of this blink, which covers the fifth way of manifesting happiness, is letting go. We all have baggage of one size or another that we've been dragging around with us. But in order to move forward and create a new, happier future for ourselves, we need to let go of the heavier baggage that's been holding us back. This pretty much goes hand in hand with the idea of making sure you've fully processed those suppressed emotions from past events. Sarah has experienced multiple miscarriages in her life, which were painful in more ways than one. So she's especially grateful for the kids that she does have. In 2020, her oldest son, Thomas, was finally old enough to be left on his own when Sarah and her husband decided to move from Nevada to New York. He had a job, he was enrolled in school, he wanted to stay close to his friends, so it seemed like a sensible idea. But a few months later, while spending the holidays in New York away from Thomas, something just wasn't right. Sarah was experiencing debilitating chest pains that eventually landed her in the hospital. The doctors ran all kinds of tests and performed x-rays. But the final diagnosis? It was stress. She was panicking over the idea of her oldest child leaving home. The doctor put a hand on her shoulder and told her to cry, to let go, to let it all out. Sarah is grateful for this experience. She now knows that this chest pain is a sign that it's time to feel, heal, and reveal. That there are unresolved emotions and experiences that she needs to deal with and let go of. It's her body and her intuition telling her, slow down, feel your feelings. Like change, letting go is scary. We prefer to have control, to micromanage our lives, our children, and sometimes even our partners. But this need for control is often at odds with reality itself. It's like we're trying to bend the universe to our will instead of letting the universe deliver the happiness that we're trying to manifest. Control often results in friction, whereas surrendering and letting go opens the door for the universe to effortlessly deliver what you need for closure. You are intentional. In this sixth blink, we're going to pick up a thread that's been weaving through a lot of these blinks. Intention. Intention is there in the first blink, where we talked about being the love you wish to receive. There's an intention in everything that deals with the law of attraction. We're intent on transforming our lives So everything we put into the universe is in alignment with that intention, the ultimate goal of manifesting our happiness. Here, we're specifically focusing on the intention of our words. One of Sarah's favorite words is abracadabra. You've probably heard this word in the context of a magic trick, but it actually dates back to the times of ancient Aramaic languages. In Hebrew, the rough translation is, I create as I speak. In the context of the law of attraction, this is a very harmonious idea, since we can take it to mean that your words have the power to create the kind of relationships and reality that reflect those words. You've probably heard another saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's a nice sentiment, but it isn't very true, is it? Words can really hurt. That was stupid of you. Did you gain weight? You look fat. Wow, I didn't realize you were so weak. These words carry a lot of hurtful power, especially when they're said between two people who are supposed to care about each other. Words that generalize and imply absolutes are also not helpful. You never listen. You're always against me. These statements leave no room for constructive conversation or understanding, and also end up just hurting a relationship. On the other hand, how often do we use words to make those around us feel special? Chances are, not enough. I love you. Hey, I really appreciate you. I'm so grateful you're in my life. We save these words for rare and special occasions. Why? And why are we so afraid of using those two most powerful words in the English language? I'm sorry. Words are, of course, most powerful when they're said with honest, forthright intention. In fact, intentions is the name Sarah uses for the kind of affirmations that are meant to manifest certain things in your life. But to this, there is a skill. Simply put, some words are just better than others. For instance, Sarah has come across a lot of people who use the intention, I am now debt-free. This is cringeworthy because there are no positive, powerful words being used. The main word is a negative one, debt. If you're repeating this intention every day, you're essentially attracting more of what you don't want. So the better intention would be, I am now living in abundance. That's a positive rephrasing of what you actually want, right? And that's why abundance is the kind of powerful word you should be putting out into the universe with intention. In the next and final blink, we'll wrap it up with a few more tips on how to be the love. You are love. There's a variety of names out there for the thing that connects us all, and it changes from person to person and culture to culture. There's God, the universe, the source, and for Sarah Prout, it's love. The universe is the frequency of love, but that love makes up the energy that drives each and every living thing. There's no shortage of love. Sometimes we feel like we're lacking it and our energy is depleted. That doesn't mean it's not all around us. It's just a matter of tapping back into it. And this is always within your power. No one can stop you from taking a moment, grounding yourself in the present, and accepting that energetic flow of life and love that is always available to us. Meditation can help with this. So can sex. Both of these acts have the power to bring us into the present moment, to snap us out of lingering regrets about the past or those unhelpful everyday distractions. Visualization is another powerful tool at your disposal. You may have heard about top athletes using visualization. Skiers, swimmers, runners, they'll play out their event, beat by beat, step by step, and visualize themselves coming out on top. Sarah has had multiple moments in her life where she experienced the power of visualization. The first was when she was just 14 years old. She had submitted some of her own drawings to some greeting cards and wallpaper companies. For weeks, she didn't hear anything back, but every night before bed, she would visualize her drawings on wrapping paper and on department store shelves. Sure enough, the phone finally rang. A representative from the Hallmark greeting card company called to set up a meeting where she was given a few $1,000s to come up with a series of designs for the company. It was her first taste of the power of visualization, and she hasn't looked back since. The wonderful thing about all of these techniques for manifesting is that you don't need anything but love and intention. Those are the main tools. You are love. Words are your wand. You are capable of astounding feats of magic. So close your eyes. Take a deep breath and say it with me. This one final affirmation. I am love. I am love. You've just listened to the Blinks to Be the Love by Sarah Prout. The most important thing to remember is this. We are all capable of transformative magic. No matter what your current situation is, you have the power to change your reality and create a better, happier world for yourself. This is called manifesting. It's done with purposeful intention. It's done through affirmations, journaling, and staying attuned to your intuition. By looking inward, recognizing the emotions that are tied to your past, and recognizing the feelings of low self-worth that might be holding you back, you can begin to put yourself on a transformative path towards happiness and prosperity. And for anyone looking for a little bit more actionable advice, Sarah offers a list of 111 things you can do to support your intention and help manifest your happiness. For example, you might want to make a personal commitment to continue learning by reading at least one new book a month. Or maybe you want to try keeping a dream journal. This can be another way to stay attuned to your intuition and receive valuable messages. Taking up painting can also be transformative. Even if you're not artistically inclined, painting can be a valuable way of expressing your emotions. Use bright colors. Pay attention to how it feels. See your emotions displayed on a canvas. Thanks for listening. We'd love to know what you thought about this Blink. Feel free to leave a rating or share some feedback. We're always paying attention, and we value what our listeners have to say. In the meantime, browse the other titles in our giant library. There's bound to be something that will pique your interest there. As always, I look forward to sharing some valuable information with you in the next Blink.